Hey guys, it's Matt here from the Revel Brewing Show. I want to give a quick shout out to everyone who's been listening and watching, whether you've been watching the full-length episodes on YouTube or you've been listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts or Stitcher. It's great to have you there listening and engaging with us, messaging the page and letting us know your thoughts. So we really appreciate your support. And look, I'm joined now once again by Jay, the founder of Revel.
G'day, Revelers.
And Matt Flexman, one of the co-founders.
Hey guys, how are we again?
And you're sporting an interesting looking mustache there today.
Yes, mate, from November, for Movember causing. It's the angry, friendly Russian. Gorag has been named by the brewer, Matt Cuthbert. So it's it's quite thick and luscious at the moment. So
and aggressive.
It's quite aggressive. Yeah. But I'm friendly, so it's like that, yeah. So last year I ran just the single handlebars, and it got a pretty solid interest. So they asked me to one up it this year, and if you're watching, you could probably see some fierce kickbacks coming up there. So I've got to do something to cover the jawline. So, but if you kind of was around last year, you'd probably notice that I've got a little bit more grey hair as well. So,
and that's what running a brewery does to you.
Yeah.
That's a good intro.
That's probably a really good segue to we'll go over to you, Jay.
It's been great. I'm aged.
Like it's 2019. What's it all been like?
I think one of the biggest challenges for us has been able to record the Revel Brewing Show when you actually remember to hit record.
I'll make sure I edit that one out, hey. better 2 minutes in than an hour and a half.
Yeah. It's all good.
2019, well, it's year 2 for us. We're coming up to our second birthday on the 13th of December this year. So it's been, like any kind of startup company, it's been kind of like taking stock and making sure that everything's running as smoothly as it can be. And focusing on, I think this year our vision for the company was to galvanize all of our processes and systems, because when you kind of like start a company, everything's kind of go, and you make band-aids on things and hold it up with zip ties and duct tape and all that sort of stuff. But at some point you kind of go, all right, listen, we've got to fix that issue now. We have to write the standard operating procedure. We have to train that person properly. We've got to fill out those forms and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, working kind of through our mistakes and fixing them along the way. Whereas this year it's kind of like, well, we've gone back and gone, all right, we're getting busy now. We're growing into the market. We're growing into the company. We don't have time to kind of reverse engineer everything and do that. So we needed to put a lot of processes and things like that in place. So it's run a lot smoother. And like Jay said, it's galvanizing our processes along the way, which is helping a lot.
And I mean, ultimately, you can't build upon quicksand, right? So if we're trying to grow a company in 2019, 2020, you have to make sure that you have firm foundations. And that's what this year has been. Like we talk about the word galvanize, it just means, make everything solid, make it robust, and so that we can build a really firm, a structure on top of that foundation.
So, I guess there's been a lot of tough moments and some enjoyable moments along the way. What's the toughest moment been so far in 2019?
Every day.
I
wake up.
Day.
Well, Flex, you're here every day. I'll let you take away with that one.
Ben, by the end of the day, every day is the greatest day. Everything. I loved this year because, like we were saying before, we were fumbling through a lot of things last year, and that creates its own stress itself. So with that type of stuff out of the way, you understand how things move and kind of can go with the flow a little bit more and enjoy the ride. 2019 for me has been just a phenomenal year. Growing the sales side of things and business development. Pretty surprised of what I achieved as such over the 12 months. So for me, it was really, really challenging every day, but also really, really rewarding. Learning a lot of new things all the time, and meeting a lot of great people and creating really good relationships along the way. So that's a really great thing that's happened for myself in 2019. So,
and you're saying there's a lot of things you've learned. So, obviously you're in the business every single day. Are there things that you're doing now that you didn't think you'd be able to do or didn't think that you'd have to do?
I think it's probably more along the lines of like the beer side of things. Business acronyms and everything like that, I've had plenty of experience in the past. But the beer side of things and the knowledge behind that is incredibly in depth if you really kind of scrape away the surface. So that has been a challenge for me, but also it's, again, education and me being able to educate other people as well. So Matty, he's probably pretty sick and tired of me every day asking questions. What's this? What's that? How's that? How does that work? Why are you doing that? All this kind of stuff. But that only lends me to go and have excitement from what I do and explain that to the end customer. And then more people come in here and do brewery tours and all that kind of stuff. And you can facilitate a lot more of those interactions.
Yep.
And yeah, I think it's a great thing. I love learning stuff. So
it's funny, when we first started this company, like talked to Flex about brewing, and he'd kind of like, I love drinking beer. Like, and now he's talking about yeast health and cell propagation and, all of this stuff, like just rattling it off. And you can see, I enjoy watching the spark in his eye because he's so passionate about what he does. And that's a really cool thing, to really enjoy and love what you do. It's hard bloody work, but to see the team being happy, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it probably just comes back to how you got to get the right people in the right places. I mean, as a business owner, you got to wear a few different hats. Like you may only want to really specialize or take care of a couple of areas, but especially if you're in there every day, like you've got to be at least across those things so you can ask those questions. So it must
definitely
help having guys like Matty there to be able to at least ask those questions of.
Yeah, 100%. He's super easy.
I mean, you were saying in the very first podcast that 2019 was about just galvanising everything and just bringing it all together. Have you had some things come up where you're like, okay, that's happened once or twice, like we need to do something a bit differently, things like that?
Yeah, that's really good segue to the concept of data. Like when we first, in 2018, we had never done anything ever. So everything you did was the first time. And when you're on a steep learning curve, it's a very stressful environment, I'd say, like pretty much all day, every day. And because we have very limited cash flow, meaning we had not many people doing, a lot of different jobs, it was really, really challenging. But in 2019, around Christmas of last year, I sat down and I analysed the data from last year and just went, wow, I can see what we did at these times and what response the business had. It's like a heartbeat. If there was something that was, you can see this pulse of the company actually starting to form. And then, if there was a body shot, you could see what happened to that pulse. Or if there was, a good thing that happened, you just watch it kind of get better. And so we then sat down, and what I do well is analyze things and then go, well, let's plan for the future. And we put a plan in place at the Christmas time that we've executed on this year. And because it's been more predictable and you're doing everything for the second time pretty much, but there's a lot of new stuff, but you get to refine and get better at it. And for those dips in our business model, we've actually plugged most of it to either keep it on par with everything else or actually exponentially grow in whatever area that might be. And that comes down to, how do you galvanize something? How do you make it better? You analyze and then you make a change and pivot and plug the hole. So that's been probably one of the coolest things. And the other thing is probably the biggest gift we've had in this company is our great people. Like we talk about that a lot because we genuinely, without our people, we'd be nothing. And that's the most important thing to me. But because we've made an imprint in the community and there's more people coming, we've seen more income come through, but we've spent that on getting the right people and growing our team. So we've over doubled our payroll. We've got a lot more people on full-time employment now. And we've kind of really got this great team going. We still don't have all the skills we need. We still need to grow our company more to be able to make more income, to be able to get those dedicated roles so they can focus. But now we have, last year there was 3 or 4 full-time employees and now we have 9. So it's kind of dedicated staff to do, sales, multiple people. We have dedicated brewer. We've kind of always had. We have dedicated hands in the kitchen and extra hands in the kitchen. We've got people on the road now doing deliveries that we didn't have before. So all of these things in and around the company, it's just great to be able to do that. But unfortunately, that comes at a cost. And that means that there's not a lot left in the bank at the end of the year, but that doesn't matter because the company is healthy from, everything we've reinvested. So I think 2019 has been galvanise, but it's also been reinvest everything you've got so that you can make a happy environment for your people and have dedicated people to do dedicated jobs.
Is that probably the big thing? Like you could easily get into year 2 and go, great, making lots of money. Like let's take this money instead of putting it back in and thinking super, super long term about it.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, everyone here is on like breadline income type thing. Like we really put everything back into the company that we can. It's really important that you do that in the founding years. If you drew massive wages, we'd go bankrupt within a couple of months. It's almost scientific.
Yeah.
So, and that's really important. Like people don't know that I don't kind of draw anything from the company because if I did, it would sink. It's not the right time for that, and that's what as a business owner, that's what you have to do. And people, I think I've heard a lot of war stories about companies in their first year or two, and people go for that instant gratification as opposed to delayed gratification. And for me, it's always been a long game. So I look 5-10 years down the track and I go, that's where things are going to be really comfortable. But right now we've got to hustle. And that's what I love about it is hustling every day.